Hello. This is our first video on the 8 for higher level psychology students, and recently we had a student request a tutoring video in reference to Piaget's stages of cognitive development. So here we have the French developmental psychologist Jean Piaget himself, as you see. So Piaget actually created these stages of cognitive development to explain how children develop mentally, and this is part of the learning outcome of cognitive in psychology, and this can be used as a representational system on your IB exams if you want to use that, or it can also be in reference to how the human mind is a representational system. And here you can clearly see how there are 4 stages indicated by Piaget, and the 4 stages, we'll do a brief overview and then we'll go in depth of each stage. So the first stage is the sensory motor, which is a child to about 2 years of age, and this is just when the child's developing basic task. Then there's the pre-operational, and this is from 2 to 7 years of age. Then there's the concrete operational, which is 7 to 11 years of age. And then finally we have the formal operational, which is the big deal, the final push. And that's for a child of 11 years of age into adulthood. And of course, that's what most of us are in. So when looking at the stages of cognitive development, you need to make sure to take into account any possible limitations when writing about this topic for your IB papers. And make sure that when mentioning Piaget's techniques, know that he may have crossed ethical guidelines, because when he was testing these babies, for example in the sensory motor, to see if they had developed such things as object permanence and stuff, many times the baby, you can see videos of the babies crying and whatnot, and this shows that he may have crossed an ethical guideline, and that could be a possible limitation. Also, you could possibly think about the rapport that Piaget built up with his subjects. The argument could be that he did not build up a strong rapport with his subjects due to the fact that they were mainly children, and they did not know what was going on, and they heavily relied on him. So there's that argument. So now we'll dig into a little of each stage. So first, the sensory motor. And this is pretty much right when you're born. You're crying, you're yelling, you're touching things. And according to Piaget, the baby is touching things, and as you're touching and learning, you're not speaking, but you're starting to realize, oh, there's stuff here. You're not completely aware of the conservation around you, though. So for example, if the baby's put on a cliff, and but there's clear glass clearly going across between 2 tables, so that's the theoretical cliff that Piaget would create. So he'd have 2 tables and then a sort of plexiglass in between, and the baby could easily walk across. But since the baby could see through, he thought he or she would think that it's a cliff and would fall, and that shows that the baby understands the concept that he or she could fall, but his or her idea of conservation is not fully developed yet. So that idea of conservation comes in to play in the next stage, which is the pre-operational phase, and that's when the babies start to actually think of what they're touching. They're not just grabbing and yelling. They're actually starting to put symbols with things. So baby starts associating a certain toy with an object, such things, and the imagination of the child starts to increase. This is where children start to think extravagant things, such as what they want to do and all that. And this is the stage where the child finally realizes that, oh, the plexiglass is there, I can walk across. So they fully understand that they can do as they please. Then there's the third stage, which is the concrete operational. And this is where Piaget argues with other psychologists, developmental psychologists, such as Erikson's 5 stages. You might want to watch that. But those 5 stages argue that there's another extra stage here, but Piaget says that it's 7 through 11, that these children are marred by very specific events in their life, and that they find it difficult to get away from these events. So it's sort of a lasting impact. So if a child experiences something extremely fun, playing a sport, for example, they might become attached to that sport, Piaget argues, and that their mind may associate that sport with something with fun. However, Piaget doesn't think that. He believes that the understanding of stuff begins here, but he doesn't think that they're able to logically conclude things in this stage yet. That stage is the formal operational stage, which is starts at 11 years of age and continues all the way throughout adulthood. And Piaget argues it's not until about 11 years old that a child can actually begin to theorize, create hypotheses about different scientific methods, and think on their own. He also believes that abstract logic and reasoning are not possible in the other stages until someone's 11 years old. Now, this is where a major limitation to Piaget's theory comes into play, is that he created these stages and he has specific years, as you see, 0 to 2, 2 to 7, 7 to 11, and then 11 on. However, there's, as many of you know, being a part of the IB program, you may have been part of a gifted class or such, and your cognitive development may have been faster than other students, and other students may have been slower than yours. Therefore, they may experience object permanence later on than you, or you may experience the ability to hypothesize and such at a much later stage than them. And this ability allows for these limitations are major and can have major implications on how people view Piaget's work, and they dispute it. And the major proponent to this would be the Erikson's 5 stages. And so when writing your IB paper, make sure to clearly identify these 4 stages with the 4 specific year boundaries, because that's a major part of Piaget's. And make sure to mention how there was ethical limitations because the students may have felt obligated to fill these roles. Okay, and that's this video. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you do well. Please contact us if you have any future needs in HL Psychology or Biology, and peace out.